This is my buddy Jerry. We also have a, where did he go? A Morty dog. He's asleep behind the camera, and this is their roadmap to success. Yes, you want to hang out here? You want to get down? All right, you want to get down? We'll let you get down. All right, so basically in this video, I just want to kind of summarize the things we went over. In this case, this is kind of a very classical example of what I deal with. Dogs really were probably under-exercised, didn't have really any rules, and were able to get attention on demand. And so that kind of can cause a lot of dogs to develop some behavior issues. We also had a change. If you hear snoring, that's Morty. We also had one of the guardians got a different job right around the same time a marking habit started. And this is also the family is expecting their first child. This is a lot of upheaval and things that are going on. Some dogs mark. Marking is an intentional act. An accident is not by definition. When a lot of dogs mark, sometimes they're marking to, so if another dog comes in here, that dog can smell that there is a leader, there is somebody that's looking out for things. We often think of rules as a negative, and because it stops us from doing the things we want to do as a kid, and then the rest of our life we look at rules as negative, and we don't want to be rude to our dogs, so we don't have any rules for them. And that can make them feel a little bit insecure, and some dogs will mark things to try to let other people know or another dog know that there is somebody that's, like I said, looking out. And so we started off by talking about really rules and structure as well as exercise. For exercise, we can go on sniff walk. Sniffing burns more energy than walking. We can also play tug of war. We can do fetch. Those are great ways to burn energy physically. And there's mental stimulation, like playing scent games. You can Google scent games. It's hiding treats around, and then the dog, every time the dog finds a treat, you say your marker word. And I usually use cookie in the corner for this, so I like show the dog I have a treat. We'll do this with Jerry, and I would just go like hunt, and then I wait for the dog to go over there and we get it. Yes. So that was one treat. Now I show them that I have two. Oh, so that's all right. You can come too. Hunt. Yes. Yes. So then I throw three, then I throw four, then I throw five. So what I'm doing is I'm assigning a cue. Hunt means that to go look for treats around. Then eventually you can have the dogs outside and you could put 5 treats on the floor and just say hunt without throwing them. The dog's like, there are treats around? And they're using their nose. Their nose controls about 60% of their brain. It drains a lot of energy. There's a lot of versions of scent games. So Google scent games is a great way to burn energy without you having to burn energy. We can also let them sniff on walks, like I mentioned. Training is a great way to burn some energy. So teaching them to go to the dog bed like we had in the video above, or teaching them basic cues and commands are great ways to burn some excess energy. We can also feed them out of a snuffle mat. I like the guardians to get a snuffle mat for both dogs and feed, right now the dogs are free fed. So we want to switch that over to feeding them about 2 or 3 times a day. And we're going to put it in, each dog has his own snuffle mat. And when they come over, when they walk away from the snuffle mat, we pick it up, roll it up and put it up, and they don't eat again to the next meal. I'd probably recommend that you just switch over to the feeding out of the bowl first. And that'll be basically, you put the food in the bowl, you invite Morty to come over, and then when he eats, when he walks away, you pick up the bowl, dump it empty, put the empty bowl back down. Then we have him vacate the area. Then Jerry gets to come in and eat in the same way. And because right now they're free fed, I'm guessing the first day or two they're like, I'll eat later, man. That's why we dump it and we put the food back down. So eventually, every time they walk by and get water, they recognize there's no food there. There's no food there. Holy cow, there's food here. And that makes it a big, important thing. And eating is an important thing for dogs. So using a snuffle mat is like sneaking in a walk. If we can feed them maybe 3 times a day, that's like sneaking an extra walk. We might also get an Omega Paw Tricky Trainer treat ball or other treat puzzles. And that way we can have, we can have the dogs working for their food, another way to burn energy and boost their self-esteem and confidence. Let me see. The dogs are old enough where, since they're short snouted dogs, I would be careful. Make sure you get the X or Y harness. I was going to suggest you get like saddlebags or like a doggy backpack. Makes the walk more efficient, but because these guys have short snouts, I don't know if that would be appropriate for them. I would recommend an X or Y shapes harness versus the one that you guys are using now because it's a little bit of a T shape. Let me see. So those are examples of scent games or of mental stimulation. So the idea is to come up with a rhythm so we can do, maybe we play fetch once a day, we tug of war once a day. We have the snuffle mat 2 or 3 times a day. Also lick mats. Can you toss me that lick mat? So if the guardians get a couple of these have suction cups on the back. This is from Best Buddy. And so if we have some of these, also chewing and licking releases endorphins. So this is a bag of bully bites. And I'd like you to get a bunch of bully bites, go to the green spot and just get a bag of them so you have them here. I'd also get like trachea, a couple kneecaps, a couple ears, and put them up somewhere. So that way, if something happens to the baby or something else, you can give them something to do. That's the physical exercise and mental stimulation. We also went over rules and structure, like not being allowed in the kitchen when we're preparing food, not being allowed within humans who are eating, not being allowed with each other when they have a bone or they're eating. Also premax, like I have to sit at the door before you open the door. I have to sit before you let me up on the couch. Sit quietly while you put the leash on or the harness or whatever it is. I would recommend that you say the word walk a whole bunch without taking the dogs for a walk. And when you do go for a walk, don't say the word walk at all. I would recommend that you leash them up and harness them up a couple times a day without going for a walk, and desensitize them from that as well. When the guardians come home, the dogs are very excited and they pet them. Anything your dog is doing when you give it attention is what you're reinforcing. So when you guys come home, I would have you ignore the dogs completely. When they finally calm down, start reaching for them, and they'll start wiggling, pull your arm back, and just go back to doing what you're doing. And eventually the dogs will calm down faster and faster, but if we pet them every time they're excited, that's when they're going to make those mistakes. I'm not going to talk about it because we talked about it in the video above, but I'd like you about 2 to 4 times a day practice going into the baby I was going to say study, but nursery, and practice and elongating it and going through the stuff I went over in that exercise. So that way, by the time the baby comes, they're very well practiced at sitting outside. And again, do it with both dogs separately till they're relaxed. I would recommend that we send Jacob to do the relaxation protocol with you guys. And after you guys do that, you can do the relaxation protocol in different areas. And I would definitely do it in that area right over there in the hallway. You guys don't know because we're filming, but right over there. So that way you're walking back and doing the same sort of things. When you're doing the relaxation protocol, then also incorporate the things that you're going to do in the room. So grab some diapers, go to the changing station, fold some clothes, sit in the rocking chair, even have just a towel bundled up like a baby and rock it. Getting the dog used to these sort of things can be really beneficial. Now, one of the dogs is a little bit reactive to the sound of babies, and Claire had a really good suggestion that desensitize the dogs from that sound. So if the dog is reactive and a baby comes on TV, one of the dogs barks a little bit. So what I would do is some counter conditioning for that. So I would get a recording, and especially if there's something, do you guys have a DVR? Can you rewind TV? Okay. So if a commercial comes on or something, the baby, if you have a DVR, you can rewind it and record the audio on your phone. And then what we would do is we'd play the volume at a very low level. You drop something. And at a very low level for like 2 seconds of the baby crying. And then we give the dog a treat if it didn't react. And then play a couple more seconds of the baby crying and give the dog a treat. And the volume should be really low so the dog can hear it, but it's not reacting to it. So what we're doing is basically saying the baby crying means you're about to get a treat. And after we've done this 2, 4, 8 times at that volume, then we may go to the next level up, and you can let them out if you need to. Okay. It's just for you guys. And so then we basically raise the volume, and then we do the same thing. So the crying happens first, and first it cries for 1 second. Then eventually we'll let it go for 3 seconds and 5 seconds. Get up to the point where the baby's crying like for 10 or 15 seconds. That's probably going to be, hopefully it'll be not that long, but it probably will happen that way when the baby comes. So then once we get to that 15 seconds, the dog's relaxed. Then we raise the volume up a little bit, and eventually get to the point where it sounds like there's like a turbo baby crying in your place, and your dog's looking around like, who's going to hook me up with a treat, man? And so you can also do this once you've established that. I would play this while you're doing the relaxation protocol, while you're doing other things. The crying baby is nothing to be sweating about because it's just a normal occurrence for us. So if you have questions or problems with that, let us know, because that's a little bit more advanced thing we didn't go over here, but I think that should be enough to handle it. And if you have a problem with this, like I said, let us know. We also went over petting with a marker word. So remember, a marker word is the word, in this case, we're going to use the word yes. It comes the instant the dog does the thing that we want. Unless the thing that we want from the dog has some elongation or some time to it, then we're going to say the marker word at the end. Sorry, just watching a pug try to climb up on the couch and fail a little bit was funny. So basically, we're going to use those marker words for sits, for comes, for downs, for eye contact, for also for the potty. Because there's some marking, I would recommend that you take the dogs out 3 times they're most likely to go: right after waking up, 3 minutes after eating, and 10 minutes after playtime. Those 3 times, take the dog outside, have some high-value treats with you. The dog, as soon as the dog starts to pee or poop, watch, and as soon as they finish, say your marker word and give them a treat. And when you can start recognizing your dogs, you see the butthole puckering or they're doing the figure 8 sniffing or whatever, then you can say business or whatever the word is you want and sneak a new word in there. Then they get done, you say your marker word and give them a treat. And let's make them think that, hey, let's keep this urine stuff outside because it's very valuable. And if I do it outside, I get a reward. If I do it inside, nothing happens other than it gets cleaned up. Now you might also cover up the areas or deny access to the dogs to where they're doing it. A belly band stops it. doesn't stop the behavior, but it stops the urine from coming out. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely do some remedial potty training like Claire suggests, because I think that'll really help. Let me see. We also talked about petting with a purpose. Well, I guess I'm just trying to think. Do we cover marker words sufficiently? If you have questions with that, let us know. You can also use a clicker, but I think you guys will be fine just using the marker word that we talked about. You might want to, this is, by the time you guys see this, it should be too late. What I would do is I would grab, I'm going to leave these treats here with you. After we leave, one of you go downstairs or upstairs or whatever, grab about 10 or 15 treats, walk around and just say yes, give the dog a treat. Doesn't have to do anything. You want, this is called loading the clicker. All you have to do is get the treat in their mouth within 2 seconds. And we'll do that maybe with each dog, maybe 10, 15 treats, 2 or 3 more times, then you probably never have to do it again. But we want to have, by the time you see this video, you guys should have already done that. So do it again tonight and do it once tomorrow. And then basically for petting with a purpose, instead of the dog wants to get on your lap, if it jumps up, you could probably just stand up if it's comfortable for you to do. But the idea is if they're nudging you or whatever, if you want to pet them or they want you to pet you, you tell them to sit. If they don't sit, then you go back to doing what you're doing. If they sit, you say your marker word and pet them a little bit, preferably here, 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 or here. And after a while, they'll start sitting to prepay for the attention. When they do, make sure you recognize and reward that. Otherwise, they'll go back to nudging you. I would recommend that you try to start conditioning the dogs to stay off of the couch now, because you're going to be up there with the baby. Take the time, get whatever you're going to get here, or put some sort of backstop here, put the dog bed right here in front, and just practice every time they jump on the couch, throw a treat over here. And when you're throwing the treat, you could come up with a name for this one. Maybe you call this one Alabama. So you throw it Alabama, and then you throw the treat, and the dog runs down and gets it, and you say yes as soon as they're here, and they jump back, go back and forth, and eventually get to the point where they're here. Remember to leave treats here. They should find new dog toys here. I like to get the bully sticks and drill a hole through the end of it and get like a dumbbell and a zip tie it through the hole to the dumbbell. So the only place I can chew on it is on the dog bed. What are we doing? We're practicing being on the dog bed. And that's something just for, because the dogs are right now on top of the couch, and you have a small couch, and I want you guys to be able to have your time. Remember, your dog have to practice everything you want them to do before the baby comes here. So petting with a purpose, if you want to pet the dog or they want to pet, they want you to pet it, you tell it to sit or lay down. If it does it within 2 seconds, the first only time you pet. If it doesn't do it, they don't get the attention. After a while, they'll start sitting to prepay for it. Use the word paycheck if you suspect someone's forgot and they're petting without a purpose. That person stops, tells the dog to sit, and then, we also went over capturing. Capturing is just waiting for the dog to do the thing on its own. So every time the dog looks at you, yes, give it a treat or pet it. Every time it sits, yes. Chest hits the ground, yes, goes to the dog bed. And the dog beds, they'll start going to those dog beds when you start practicing this. Make sure you mark every time and give them a pet or a treat or a reward. And this is the easiest way to train them. And eventually your dog does the thing you want, just like here. Yes. Was he coming to me? No, he was actually walking back to the door, but he did walk by. That is a come or part of the come. So let's reward him for that, and that's going to make it much easier for him to come to me next time I do call him, even though I didn't use the word. Is there anything else I need to cover? Anything else you want me to cover? All right. Well, back there is, that's Jerry, and inside we have, why can't I think of his name? Morty. And this is the roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.